4th of July goes awry as 4 teens out to celebrate the 4th of July end up covering up a murder, only to find out 1 year later that someone knows what they did. That's right, it's time to remake I Know What You Did Last Summer right. Hello, my fellow cinematic architects, and welcome to Remake This Movie Right. We are a member of the Hollywood Outsider Network. You can listen to episodes of Remake This Movie Right on iTunes, where reviews are appreciated. Please leave a review if you haven't, your podcast app of choice, or just visit the website at remakethismovie.right.com. Please share the show with your friends on your social media of choice. Remake This Movie Right is a show that takes an original film that has an actual remake in the works, figure out what still clicks and what doesn't, throw a little bit of humor at it, and then we determine exactly how Hollywood should remake it. So by the end of each episode, we will have the remake ready to roll for Hollywood execs and presented to you in movie trailer form. We are here to tell Hollywood how to remake this movie right. I am your host, Aaron Peterson, and joining me today, you might remember him from our recent Fugitive, also the Ghostbusters and the Howling episodes, Troy Heinrichs.
Aaron, no one gets me the way you do.
God. Also, you might remember her from Charlie's Angels, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and our Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes. Apparently, she only does Sarah Michelle Gellar episodes. Amanda Sink.
Well, if you listen to the Buffy episode, you know I'm not a super fan anymore.
Well, you have to be. Well, I mean, in this one, she dies. Shh, spoiler alert. The movie that we're going to be remaking for this episode of Remake This Movie Right is the 1997 classic, ? I Know What You Did Last Summer. It starred Jennifer Love Hewitt in the best blue sweater ever, Buffy herself, Sarah Michelle Gellar, the never-aging Ryan Phillippe, and Gellar's now husband, Freddie Prinze Jr. Also had Johnny Galecki and Anne Heche, and was written by Scream's Kevin Williamson, adapted from the novel by Lois Duncan. Did you guys, either one of you, see this in the theater?
I do not recall, because I would have been a very young tot.
And Troy?
My guess would be no then. Absolutely. Yes, I did.
Did you really?
Yes. College and all that good stuff.
What'd you think when you saw it, other than Jennifer Love Hewitt when she spun it around and made a magnificent twirl?
What
are you waiting for, Troy? What are you waiting for? That's all I got.
Scene ever. I was duped the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, snap. They just went there. That's pretty good.
Duped by, in what respect?
Seriously was playing along because they do a really great job. It doesn't seem like it on the second time or third time or fourth time, but that first time through, it's like, well, maybe it's, Sarah Michelle Gellar's older sister. Maybe it's, what's his name? Maybe it's this guy. Maybe it's that guy. Maybe it was actually the guy that was sitting on the cliff. Why do you sit on the cliff, dude? Just curious. It's really high up. But yeah, they do a really good job making you think that it could be any one of those people throughout the course of the movie until eventually they get picked off one by one. And then you start to go, who is it? And then you're like, oh, snap. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. For people that might not have seen it, which we're totally going to spoil that for you, so run out and watch it real quick. But the film's
doing a good job not to say it.
Well, I mean,
we may as well
give it away. Give it away.
It's called I Know What You Did Last Summer, the remake. So we're going to have to mention the story points of the original. Guess what? Spoiler alert. We're going to tell you everything probably that happened in that movie. The film centered around 4 friends who engage in a fun night of partying and winning beauty crowns, only to unwittingly, and can I just point out, I got to say, so Sarah Michelle Gellar is the winner of the beauty pageant, and she has to come back the next year because it's a rule that the winner has to sit there and watch the other ones. But there's nobody sitting. Yeah, but there's nobody sitting there when she won. So,
I didn't even notice.
Is that a new tradition?
Maybe it was the first year of the pageant
they just
when
started.
She did it.
Okay, well, whatever. They winning beauty crowns only to unwittingly hit a body with their car. Then they vow to throw the body in local waters to avoid manslaughter charges, only to receive a note 1 year later saying nothing more than "I know what you did last summer." From that, it's a really cool hook. Mm-hmm. From that point, the chase is on.
See what you did there.
See, somebody caught it. The chase is on to find the killer before their own bodies add to the stockpile, and by the end, we come to find out that the murderer is a fisherman who was there to kill the man he blamed for his daughter's death and the friends, and actually left him for dead, not the boy they thought they killed. It's very confusing. Or is it just me?
It's a little confusing.
Okay.
You made it more complicated than it needed to be.
But
the dude that's trying to kill them is the dude they hit.
Right.
He did not die.
But was he that covered with blood that he looked young? Because when you finally see him at the end, it's like, you don't look so young. You're not very spry.
No, it has something to do with the dad.
He was the dad. They hit the dad.
Right, but then there was like the dad and son thing, so that's what causes the confusion. So it's not
Correct.
the same person.
They think it's the son who they killed because he was out there being all emo and stuff, and it ends up being the father instead.
No, I got that, but I'm saying that when they saw the body under their car, did he not look like an old guy?
It was on the side of the road, and yeah, he did look very large. But the first time when you're seeing it in the theater, you're kind of like, you can't really tell because it is pretty messed up, bloody face.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know the hook. But when you watch it the second time, you're like, dude, yeah, that guy's pretty aged. Especially when he opens his eyes up underwater.
Could you tell it was him when he opened his eyes up underwater? Like, now that you saw him at the end, could you tell? I guess I didn't focus as much on it as I could have.
Watching it last night, it's clear it's the same guy.
Okay. All right.
But you don't know the first time through because you're still like, ooh, who is the killer? But yeah, it's not a rewatchable value. It's very low on this movie.
All right. Well,
soundtrack you can listen to all the time.
Oh man,
seriously,
hush, dun, 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 dun. I love that song. Love it. All right, some trivia via IMDb that you can find on your own as well. But Lois Duncan wrote the novel, and that this is based on, and she has stated openly that she hates the movie because the filmmakers took her book and turned it into a slasher film. In the original book, they accidentally kill a boy, and his half brother ended up seducing Julie and almost killing Barry. And no one else died. I think they paralyzed Barry or something like that. Totally, like it went in a totally different direction.
I mean, they kind of remade it pretty decent. They just needed better acting.
Well, and they changed the entire, hook.
Which we can easily do as well.
We can.
No offense, the movie was better than that.
You think so?
That sounds boring. That sounds like The Notebook, but with death.
But with death. All right. Well, the original trailer for the movie described Kevin Williamson and the movie as from the creator of Scream. Miramax, owners of the Scream franchise, successfully sued Columbia Pictures for false advertising, and the phrase was removed. Which I don't get. How's that false advertising? He did write Scream.
Honestly, though, it has a very, very similar feel to Scream. Like, when you're watching it, you understand, you can kind of realize that this is written by the same person.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my opinion. While I'm watching it, rewatching it recently, I was like, this is very similar to Scream. This has a very similar feel to it.
When you were watching it, did you twirl?
I can.
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you have a blue sweater?
I want to get one really soon. Man, I forgot how much I had a crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt. Sarah Michelle Gellar co-starred in this film and with her now husband, Freddie Prinze Jr. That's where they met. They met during filming.
Love birds.
Love stinks.
And went on to do Scooby-Doo together.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
They do some glorious films together.
Oh, thanks, love. Thanks for that.
Wow. I'm going to have nightmares now all night.
Yep. Max's murder, Johnny Galecki, Max's murder was added in reshoots. It was decided that the killer, who remained mostly in shadows for the first half of the film, worked on a suspense level but never provided a tangible threat to the main characters. The murder was then filmed to show the audience that, indeed, this character was a deadly threat to their four leads. The only thing I didn't like was, I guess you could argue that Max, the killer, remembered Max coming by, so he considered him part of this too, right? As like a reason, as like a motive. Yes.
See that guy?
Yeah.
See that Armstrong doll there? It's called Stretch Armstrong for a reason. I thought the Max killing was probably the worst part of the movie because Max was the most interesting character.
I agree.
And they could have really done more with him to throw off the scent of the big reveal.
Yep. I was actually kind of bummed about that. The first time I saw it, and this is before Galecki was a big deal in Big Bang Theory, obviously. But I kind of thought he's going to be like the red herring. He's going to be the guy we're following who turns out to not be the killer or something like that. Or maybe he is the killer. But then they kill him right away and you know it's not him. So it kind of takes that out of the mix. I was kind of bummed in that respect.
Plus they set up, and it would have been interesting. And no, I have to hold it because it's really kind of my remake. So I can't share it yet.
Yeah, hold that. Hold it tight.
Bite my tongue.
Lastly, right after Helen gets murdered, Julie is at the parade and decides to find Ray at the dock. As she runs toward the boat, she's yelling, "Freddie, Freddie, Freddie," but his name is Ray. Ray is played by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Does she really?
That's what it says.
I totally missed that last night.
I did not go back and rewatch it before this because I rewatched it already and I didn't have time. But now I have something to check on. Yeah. And I will edit this out if it turns out to not be true. But if it's still in here, then yeah, that happened.
Ray!
God. So it turns out he actually says Ray, not Freddie. That is wrong, IMDb. That is wrong. Troy has proven you wrong. You should remove that.
I'm listening on an iPhone speaker though, so
I wonder if that was fixed. Maybe it was fixed like once it went to digital release, they figured it or something. They figured it
Realized
out.
that it was wrong.
Maybe it was Freddie when they just kind of dubbed over it.
Mm-hmm. It's possible. It's an interesting tidbit, no matter what. Okay, well, guys, if you think you have a better pitch for this remake we're about to do, or if you just want to submit your ideas or thoughts on this episode, email it to remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com, remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com, and we will read it on our next teaser episode, which is only available to subscribers. We don't put that on the website at all. So let's talk about the original a little bit more, but first, here's a clip from the original. Actually, it's kind of from the trailer.
So the boy and girl are making out, right? When they hear over the radio that this lunatic killer's escaped from an insane asylum.
That's not the way it goes. The boy goes for help, and the girl stays in the car, and she hears this, scratching sound.
No, he's been decapitated. No, he was gutted with a hook.
Foreshadowing, maybe?
You're telling it wrong.
Much.
What's that? You're telling it wrong? All right, so what makes this movie so memorable? Troy, why do you like this movie so much?
The soundtrack, number one. Okay, let's be clear. The blue shirt, number one. The soundtrack, number two.
That blue shirt is
the
very
blue
memorable.
sweater.
Everybody, I'm telling you, every guy in the world remembers that sweater.
I'm pretty sure even every woman in the world remembers that sweater. Nobody can forget it.
I was like, what just happened?
Even her dress in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I know what you wore last summer. Yeah. What else? What else do you like?
I really like the fact that there was this kind of coming of age. It was them kind of finishing high school. They were going to go away. And because of this one event, it ruins their lives completely. And he ends up becoming his father. He ends up becoming a dirtbag. She comes back from New York and she ends up kind of bottoming out in school and getting bad grades and doesn't become the prissy, good two shoes girl that she is. So I think that was kind of interesting to see how this one event drastically changed who they were as people. And then the fact that they had to still band together in order to overcome it. And then they overcome it, but not completely because some of them die.
Amanda, what makes this movie memorable for you?
1, definitely the sweater. 2, definitely the soundtrack. But I also really enjoyed the letter that they got. I thought that was a nice little, like you said earlier, a nice little hook.
Hook. Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I mean, the acting could have been a little bit better, obviously. But for the most part, the movie was fairly well developed. I liked where they took everything, even though they had a little bit of a confusing twist to it. I think that added to the movie's effect. It's obviously not a classic per se, but it's still a very well-known movie that's recognizable to everybody, and that phrase was used often for a long time. Yeah,
for me, the setup was just clever. I don't know why. I mean, it seems pretty simple. Somebody comes back and, hey, here's your note. I know what you did last summer. And most of us would see that note and go, crap. Because I'm sure we've all done something. Yeah, we've all done something.
Look out for the mirrors.
The thing I liked most about it was the clever setup, but partying teens kill somebody and then don't do the right thing. I think usually people try to do the right thing in these movies and then it might go wrong or something. But they totally did everything they should not have done. They hid the body, and then once they realized he wasn't dead, they didn't even try to save him. They let him die. So they did murder him to a degree, even though they made it seem like an accident, whatever. But so for that, to me, it almost made you want to see them caught to a degree because they kind of did a horrible thing, you know?
He sure did swim back down for that crown, though.
He sure did. Well, I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character was kind of a douche. Yeah, I mean, Barry was kind of a douche, and I don't think he became a jackass like you said, Troy. I think he just was one. He was very one note.
Yes.
I just like that note. I think that note was fun. The other thing I love about the movie is, speaking of Ryan Phillippe, is how over the top he was. He was just he went from 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. I mean, he just snapped and he's yelling at everybody. He goes down and he just starts threatening poor Max for no reason. He doesn't have any reason to think it was him other than he drove by. And, starts basically abusing him. He
loses his mind.
He loses his mind a lot. But he has that line that I remember when I saw the movie, I was quoting that line forever, where he's like, I got a note too. Freddie Prinze Jr. tells him I got a note too. He's like, shit, Helen got her hair chopped off. I almost got run over. And then Julie's got a body in the trunk, but you got a note. That's balanced. that balance thing, I quoted that forever. I love that line. Always have.
He's definitely pretty sassy in the movie.
He is, and he doesn't age. Like, he looks the exact same.
He's a good looking dude.
He is, but
he is just massively angry in this film.
I think he's just yeah.
Say it out loud, Julie. We take this to our grave.
He screams and spit everywhere.
Nobody. And he's so not threatening. I mean, he's very lanky. I mean, he's got some abs, but I mean, I wouldn't be intimidated by him at all.
But I think that's what adds to his character is he's such a small, non-intimidating guy based off his physical appearance, but he looks like he's legitimately going insane because of this. So I think that does add to it because his character, the entire film, he starts off very kind of cool and like just like kind of like a sassy jock douche kind of thing. But then he ends up working into this almost neurotic character because of what happened. And everything sets him over the edge. And it's like he's constantly set in that same mood almost. So I think it adds to it.
All right. What doesn't work for you, Amanda?
Some of the acting is a little bit over the top. It's a little bit ridiculous.
A little bit.
This is definitely like has some very dramatic points.
Like,
to be kind.
Use some example.
Well, I mean, going right back to Ryan's character, he's
so you
dramatic.
like him, but he's over
I
the
like
top.
him, but it's sometimes it's too much. Like I like how it was done, but I feel like him as an actor, he didn't portray it very well. He did it for the most part, but it's almost like some of it was just forced too much. Because that's all he did once the movie started getting going.
He just got to 16. He never took it out of gear again.
Yeah,
he's
basically.
Like, I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Well, and honestly, Sarah Michelle Gellar, I loved her in Buffy. Love her in Buffy. But her character in this, even in Cruel Intentions, she was great. But in this, she, for some reason, she's just too out of it. She just is not a good actress whatsoever.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Even though you used to love her?
I mean, I still, let's be honest, I still love her, but I just have, it's like a love-hate relationship.
You're still mad that she didn't send you an autograph?
I'm a little bitter. Yeah, basically is what it comes down to.
I asked for an autograph. I didn't get one, Sarah. So I'm forever going to tarnish your legacy.
But honestly,
I'm
she's
only
going
to
do
remakes and complain about you. All right. Troy, what about you? What doesn't hold up well?
Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character, not because the acting was bad. I just never really bought the fact that he was in love with Julie in any way, shape, or form. The fact that he ended up becoming his dad and working on the fishing boat and didn't at least try to get out of town. It just the character itself just didn't work for me at all. I think that really kind of pulled it down at the end when it's like, it's always been about you, Julie.
Do you think it was the character or the actor? Your opinion?
Both in a way, I think. Like it, and I don't want to get into it because it's my remake.
Oh, okay. Well, hold back then. Hold back.
Yeah, the character Julie, for how smart Julie was, Julie shouldn't have been with him in the first place.
But that's another thing that I kind of like about this movie as well, is that it uses realistic people. Like these are traits that a lot of people actually have.
Bad acting?
Not the bad acting. There's plenty of women
I like most of the acting, actually.
There's plenty of women that are too good for somebody and then they stay in the relationship, and there's plenty of guys or women, vice versa, who think that somebody is their entire world and then they just don't have the motivation to do anything for themselves. So I think those are very realistic, just like Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, where she's very prissy and then she just loses her self almost. They all lose themselves because of this. They all kind of give up a little bit. And I think when you have something that tragic that happens that alters your entire mind and your life and everything and just destroys you, I think that this is very accurate to how a real situation would work if somebody were put in that position.
Well, let's hope you never have to find out.
Cross my fingers.
Don't. Yeah, at least make sure that they stay weighted down in the lake. The thing that doesn't work. Okay, I've got two things that really don't work for me. One, the whole last act. That entire last act just doesn't work. The movie, I think, has some really intense kills with Barry and Helen, except for from the second Sarah Michelle Gellar gets away, or almost gets away, then she's almost at that parade, and she's almost to, past the tires or whatever those were. I'm pretty sure they were tires.
Yes.
And she's almost to the parade, but she stops, she hesitates, and then she turns around and look behind her, and then she turns around and there's a killer there. That was so generic and ridiculous because there's no feasible way the guy got ahead of her. It's an old horror movie, annoying thing. From that point forward, it falls apart up until the very, because everything after that is ridiculous. Julie gets on the boat, Literally, the only thing she has to do to escape this guy is jump off the boat. Jump off the boat and swim to shore, Julie. No, we're going to keep on the boat, and we're going to keep running around the boat trying to find places to hide on the boat. Guess where you can hide? In a whole big ocean. You can easily jump out of the boat. What's he going to do? Run back and forth until he hits you with the boat? That's the plan? It was one of those things where it literally drove me nuts. And she's from a fishing village. Unless there's a line where I don't remember where she says she doesn't swim. It was a really dumb concept. And then she goes down, like, when she goes down on the boat, when she's on the fisherman's boat, and she's trying to, what is she trying to do? She's trying to, she blocks the door.
To the ice?
Yeah, well, she blocks the door, right, with whatever it was, and then she unblocks the door. And it's like, that served no purpose. You just wasted 30 seconds of screen time for nothing. That didn't even amount to anything. You covered up the door, and then you take it away from the door, and it didn't even factor in. I don't understand it.
But she uncovered the shirt. Because she had to take the one top shirt off in order to tie the door down in order to get it open.
Well, that was important for you, obviously.
I was going to say it's definitely important to Troy.
Yeah.
It was important for you too, I'm sure.
It was, but that's not all this movie's about. So you got that. That was a big, I had a real issue with it. I felt like this movie was really working as like a mystery thriller, and it was really kind of cool, and I liked how it was coming together. And I actually, even though Sarah Michelle Gellar's character actually gets her sister killed, like legitimately gets her killed. I really thought that the chases and stuff like that were pretty well done. I thought the cop killing was a little ridiculous because it just seemed too easy, but I still went with it. But when they got Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, it was just generic. And from that point forward, it just fell apart for me.
Let's talk about the car scene where literally the car is driving away from Ryan Phillippe's character. And then the car like totally chases him down, smashes into him through a building.
Oh,
and
right.
he's laying there crippled basically. And the killer just walks away.
Mm-hmm.
He just leaves him.
That was weird. That's why I thought that at that moment, maybe there's somebody else. Maybe it was like a dual thing like Scream.
Yeah, like there's two of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I thought maybe they would go that way too.
It almost seemed like when it was at that point in the movie, after he gets smashed and then he's left alive, like the movie was just going to be about torturing them and letting them live and just suffer.
I think
everything.
that would have been cool.
Yeah, where nobody actually dies. This person just continuously comes after them and tries to haunt them with what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Except that he violently killed Max
For no reason. Yeah, no reason.
Can we also talk about, while we're on Max real quick and his death, since we've gotten back on this topic, how is it possible that he was thrown in the trunk, dead, with crabs everywhere, and within 3 minutes of Julie walking away, comes back and all of those crabs are gone, and the dead body, and there's no scent or anything. Everybody's like, oh, no, that's fine. There was nothing here.
It looks pretty clean, man. There's a jack in here, and yeah.
Yeah, but you would smell that. You can smell A, dead body, and B, crabs.
Especially, it looked like, there's a lot of crabs.
There was a lot.
It wasn't like there was 3.
No, they were everywhere.
Everywhere.
It was like a pool of
He was just
crabs.
pulled up behind her with a shovel and just started like throwing it to get it out of there. I agree. There's no way.
Yeah.
You would have to switch cars.
All of a sudden, this movie's not becoming so good.
When you think about these little things, though, everything else seems to, when you look at it in the big picture, it's really well put together. But when you look at the little details, it's just like, why would you do that? That doesn't even make any sense.
Some of that stuff, and actually, I think the whole plot device as to who's the killer, I thought, like Troy did, I thought that was going to be really cool, and it ended up not being very cool. Like the whole fisherman thing didn't work for me because I just thought, now maybe you can tell it's an old guy when he's in the lake. I'll have to go rewatch it and see if I do, but yeah.
But they still should have realized.
But I will say, I know we kind of talked about the acting. It was a little bit over the top. I really like Jennifer Love Hewitt in this movie. I thought she was really good.
I like her in a lot of things.
So I think she's a good actress.
She's great.
Yeah.
She was like a few years ago, though, she was listed as like the lowest rated actress of the last 25 years.
That's wrong. I can name at least 20 that are awful, and she is not awful. She might have had some bad runs on some series and stuff.
Based off of her reviews, she was listed as the worst actress in the last 25 years.
I'm sorry. Go watch that sweater. It's not bad acting. That's beautiful.
I liked her in Ghost Whisperer when she did that show, and I liked her in Heartbreakers.
She was great in Heartbreakers.
I
Heartbreakers
love
was
that
awesome.
movie.
Yeah.
Love it.
Jeez, give her some credit.
She's definitely not the worst in the last
She had the
25
best
years.
talent. She had the most talent of anybody in the entire cast, probably combined.
Pretty much.
Maybe Johnny Galecki had some pull there.
He
But
wasn't. They were very long.
no.
So.
He got gutted all over the ice. Nobody noticed because I'm sure he scraped the ice and got the blood off that too. Anyway, I still love the movie.
It doesn't sound like we're working up to it.
Still, there you go.
Back to the happy place.
Back to Hush. So should this movie be remade for today's audience, or should it be in don't touch status? Amanda?
Do you need me to actually answer this?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and do it.
Okay. Troy?
It's perfect the way it is. No, just kidding.
Sarcasm at its finest.
So that's a yes.
I don't know how you do the twist, though. I mean, the twist was pretty brilliant the first time you see it. So coming up with a new twist might be a challenge.
Yeah,
I got an idea.
I don't want to compare it to Sixth Sense twist, but I mean, it's still on that same.
Oh, so there's a ghost. That's what it was. Jennifer Love Hewitt was a ghost the whole time. I got it. That works. I like it. Okay, I agree. Should be definitely is game for remake. Although I do really like this one. I mean, it doesn't hold up like Scream does. Like I can go rewatch Scream over and over and over
every year,
and I don't find anything wrong with it. It's perfect. There's some flaws, but I still like the movie. It's just that last act. Like rewatching it brought back all the stuff I had issues with. I'm like, man, that's where it kind of fell apart for me because I thought it was so cool, and then
also anytime you do a
seriously
rewatch,
jump off the boat. That's literally all you have to do.
Anytime you do a rewatch.
I like the first act, though. I mean, it's a little cheesy, but I like Dawson's Beach. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yep.
What's that?
Anytime that you do...
I was trying to see if anybody caught that.
What's that?
I didn't catch Dawson's Beach until last night. I was like, oh, she said Dawson's Beach. That's funny.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one from when it came out because I'm like, oh, that's funny because these are all WB actors.
That's because I thought she was yelling, Freddie, Freddie.
What were you saying, Amanda?
Anytime you do a rewatch, like a second or third or multiple other times, you're gonna end up noticing all of the flaws because you're not just immersed in the movie like you were originally.
You're being a little more critical of it,
right? Because you already know what happens in the movie, you know what the plot is, you know who the killer ends up being, all of that. So then all you have left to figure out is all of the things that you missed the first time around. So it's pretty natural that you'll end up nitpicking things and noticing more.
Agreed. Well, let's get into this remake, but first we've got another clip from the original. It's French.
Oh my God.
I think he's dead.
We can't just leave him here.
Oh, tell me, little Miss Prelaw, what's the charge for manslaughter? We make a pact. Right here and now we take this to our grave.
For the last year, 4 friends have kept a secret.
Are you on drugs?
No.
Well, then what is wrong? I've had a rough year.
But not all secrets stay buried.
Somebody sent this to me.
Oh my God.
Someone knows.
I know what you did last summer. Ooh.
What they thought would be a new beginning
A toast to us.
is becoming a dead end.
Somebody tried to kill you last night. We have to go to the police.
If he wanted me dead, he could have done it.
And the mistake they made
It was an accident.
There was no accident. It was murder.
What if he's still alive? Hey!
What are you doing here?
is coming back to haunt them.
Oh my God.
He's after me, too. I got a letter. I got run over. Helen gets her hair chopped off. Julie gets a body in a trunk, and you get a letter? That's balanced.
She's waiting for us to unravel.
The wait is over.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Is it possible to ever hear that and not think of the Scary Movie scene?
Kind of.
Yeah. Where she mocks it to epic proportions. Man. Okay. So here's what we know about the intended remake. Not a whole lot. It's currently being written, at last count, was being written by Mike Flanagan, who did Oculus, but he also did this really cool movie called, ironically, Hush. That was on Netflix. I know, Amanda, you saw that one?
It.
Yeah, that was great.
Loved it.
So he's supposedly still involved with this. And also it's produced by Neil Moritz, who did Fast and Furious. So should be interesting. Be curious to see what they do with it. I think there's some good options on the table, but I think our remake is really going to be the one that sets things in motion. So get that story by credit, Mike. Get it ready. Get ready. So here's how we do it. If you've never listened to the podcast before, and since I Know What You Did Last Summer is getting a remake for sure, and no one ever listens to us really, how should they remake it? Basically, we're going to, all three of us, work together to come up with one cohesive film by the end of this. All selections that are debated are settled by a best of 3 votes. So if we have an idea 2 people like it, 1 person doesn't, we go with the majority. The only caveat to that is there is a cut in every episode, and that cut means that each one of our hosts has 1 cut. They can yell cut at any time if they feel very passionately about a story element, and then we have to go with whatever that host wants to go with. Everybody understand that rule?
Understood.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into our remake. Who has the first idea? Who wants to share their first idea? Let's go with Troy. Troy, you always have the full Heinrichs.
Sweet.
What do you got? What do you got to shake us up with?
First 2 weeks in a row. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So because of the car scene in this movie and because of Scream, I always wanted it to be like 2 people in cahoots with each other.
Okay.
And so I always thought the Max character was underplayed somehow. So I really want Max to be the hero at the end of the story. And the way I think that works out is I think that it's maybe like Max's friend that ends up getting killed. Like Max knew the guy that was sitting by the road or whatever. And it's actually like I guess that kid ends up getting killed, right? And he's the person that ends up getting killed. But it's somehow like the brother of the Freddie Prinze Jr. character. And so
the person that got killed,
is,
you got me, you lost me there for a second.
Max's friend is the one who gets killed, and the person that's killed, the teen that's killed, is brothers with Ray, which is Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character.
Is that what you're
correct.
saying? Okay.
You got it.
But I don't say Freddie Prinze Jr. We just say Ray.
I didn't know what was Ray. I watched it last night. It was tiring.
Ray, Helen, Barry, and Julie.
Yeah, that I got. Ray was hard. I was confused. Ray, Freddie.
Mm-hmm. I know. If you're running down the street, what would you yell?
Exactly. In a blue sweater. What happens then is that pretty much it's the same movie in a sense, except that Ray is the one that ends up being the killer, and he's totally stringing him along, right? Because it's that whole, oh, you just got a note kind of thing. And he just seems so aloof that he would stay in town, and he is the fisherman, but it's like a complete misdirection. So he ends up being the one, but really what it is it was actually Max that set up the plot the whole time, because he just always wanted to be with Julie. So he gets what he wants in the end, but Max actually was the one that was orchestrating the whole thing.
I like that.
Your theory kind of works with what I have going.
Okay. You want to go next, Amanda?
Sure. So mine, I didn't have mine as extremely well developed as yours, but essentially I wanted it to
There's
be...
more than a ball dropping on New Year's Eve, right?
Ha ha ha. Very funny.
Charlie's Angels throwback.
What?
So I want it to be an intentional murder, but I want it to appear as an accident. So I want there to be two...
now I'm curious.
I want there to be 2 characters out of, it can be out of the group, but now that he brings Max into it, if Max is behind it in your story, that's fine with me too.
Remember this, just do your version and then we'll pitch them together.
Basically I want there to be 2 people that set up the death of whomever it is, and then the other 2 people are innocent, but they believe it that they caused it. So let's say that, for example,
So they want this person dead, but these 2 set it up to make it look like an accident. So they can get away with murder.
But then the other people are involved to help keep their secret, and there's more people to help keep it undercover. Because, for example, let's say that Julie...
That's really interesting.
Yeah, let's say Julie and Ray were the ones behind it, for example. They would have Helen and Barry driving the car. And so then they would hit the body, but then they're involved in it, but it was set up somehow. So like Max drops the body off the cliff, lands on the car, making it look like it was hit by the car.
Oh, that's a really cool idea.
I just like having it be an intentional.
But you don't find that out until the very end,
and
right?
that's what you find out at the end is that they were. It's kind of the similar thing to Scream, is where you don't see those 2 coming. They were involved the entire time. But I want them to set up the murder, and then the other 2 be completely oblivious to the fact that they were tricked into almost killing somebody, essentially.
Okay. I like that. All right. I like both of them. I kind of like that idea. That's totally different.
But I think in order for that to work, though, then it can't be 2 of the 4 main characters. It's got to be that outside version where Max comes into play, because then you have 2 of them get murdered, right? And then the third one is the one that's the Julie character is one that's getting all frantic, accidentally kills one of the 2, but there's still the one left over, which is how you get the I still know at the end of the movie.
My other thing with it is if they were all out drinking and stuff, let's say that there's 2 of them, the innocent ones, who end up going to say, I'm going to go get something to drink, or one person leaves and says, I'm going to go get something to drink, etc. Then the rest are left in the group. One person can toss the body off of the cliff, which is already dead. The person's already dead, but then they hit that person with the car as they're leaving, so the one person stays back and whatnot. and then everybody is then involved in the situation. I'm not really big on how it happens.
You could make, I'll tell my idea here in a second, but I'm just playing with yours a little bit. You could make the person, one of the innocent ones, be the people that are actually tormenting the other ones because they know it was murder. They figured it out. They finally figured it out somehow. And so at the end, the whole
kind of like getting back at them for their lives being ruined.
Yeah, and it's basically, instead of it becoming a slasher, they basically tortured these people, everybody, to get the two murderers to confess.
I'm down with that too.
Ooh,
I just really like the idea of having two people that try to set up the murder and almost essentially pin it on two innocent people who think that they're at fault. So then they have that distraught feeling their entire lives until everything comes forth.
Okay, let's hold that. You got you and you got Troy, and I think we can combine those two, but let me run through mine real quick. Just so everybody's on the table. You ready, Troy?
Ready.
Okay. Here's what I want.
Ready, Freddie? Or Ready,
idea.
Ray?
Oh, I knew that was coming. I walked right into that one.
Oh, boy. I want it to be not so wishy-washy. I want them to be drunk or be screwing around and someone blatantly dies because of it. And don't get me wrong, I'm coming back to yours, man. I really like that idea, but this is what I already had worked out. So not this way where they basically got a free pass because at the very end, it ends up being a psycho. So, everybody in the audience is like, oh, cool. It's okay that they, killed somebody and threw them in the lake. No, it shouldn't be okay. I want the killer to be one of them, actually be one of them. Like maybe we do throw in Max. So there's 5 friends, so we have more suspects. I want the killer to be one of them, so distraught over hiding it that they are taking out their angst on the others, making them keep it a secret. I want accidents to happen to each of their friends or family. So basically, Julie, like say Julie's dad breaks his leg in a freak accident. Helen's sister loses a finger somehow. That seems like an accident, things like that. But there's little hints to only the people that were there that night that they'll recognize. And then basically hit the group where it hurts. So it kind of goes a little bit darker. That's kind of what I think. But I'm going back to your idea. And I got to tell you, Troy, I really like your idea, but I really like her idea. What do you think about that one? About just working it out so that you've got basically they set it up 2 of them. There's 5 of them total. So you got Ray. You can still leave the same names, right? Mm-hmm. Ray, Helen, Julie, and Barry, and Max.
That's easy to remember, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. No, and 2 of them are definitely want to get rid of this other person, whoever this other person is, a friend of theirs, or not a friend of theirs, just somebody that they need to get rid of. We can figure that out in a second. So they orchestrate this to make it look like the other 2 friends or the other 3 friends were involved in the murder. So they help them hide the body and make it look like an accident.
So that way it appears to everybody in the group like it's an accident. Everybody's distraught and, oh my God, we just accidentally killed somebody.
And maybe they actually meant it to look like an accident, but then somebody in the group convinces the others to actually cover it up.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Because they're just so panicked and freaked out.
Mm-hmm. Troy, what do you got? You gonna go full Heinrichs? You want some robots?
No. I'm just trying to figure out how the 5. So it plays out for the entire movie, right? So you have the 5, the 2, 4 in the car.
Another
dead
thing.
Guy. The dead guy's a 6th person, right? So there's a 6th person that's the dead guy.
Yeah, dead guy is
or gal.
Or gal, whatever.
Yep.
Maybe it's an ex-girlfriend. No, you don't want to do that because that's too close. And then I think people, if you keep it more anonymous, then it works better. I do definitely. So we all agree, make the killer in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's part of the 5.
Well, 2 killers.
Well, we didn't agree on 2 killers. We were just talking about 2 killers, but we definitely agreed make the killer in the group.
Well, maybe not necessarily in the group, right? Because I'm stuck on the Max character. If Max he's there, but he's not there kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the only way you can make it look, so if the 2 people want the guy dead or gal dead, they have to kill him ahead of time. Then they have to make it look like an accident in order to make the body disappear. And so then you have to have one of them drop the body from midair onto the car or something to make it look like it was hit, because if it's dead already, it's not going to stand up in the road.
That's what I'm saying. If 2 people, let's say everybody's drinking, 2 people leave to go get the alcohol. One person is super, super drunk and is totally out of it or something. And then the other 2 stage everything for those other 2 that are out driving to go get more alcohol. Then they hit the body once it's toppled over, but they're the innocent people that are driving.
I think you need 4 in the car though, because then as the movie goes on, then you have 2 people that are obviously the ones that are in the know with 3 others, and 2 of those people can get killed off as the movie goes along, which leaves you your hero or heroine. And then they actually figure out that it was one of them in their core 4, and they end up killing or dismembering or maiming or throwing off the side of a boat with one hand the third of the 4, and the only one that's left is actually the outsider, who then hooks up with the girl who's the heroine, unbeknownst to her that he's still in on it.
Say that again, because you lost me somewhere in the middle.
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
need
there's
to draw a
five
diagram.
people, right?
Yeah, let me get some schematics.
Okay, so there's Max.
Or we could go with 6. If you could have it 6, then you've got 2. Then you got 4 innocent, and is that too many?
Just depends on how many deaths you want to have.
What if one of the people of the 6 is one of them that died? And it was just like that person was the super drunk person, and it looked like they just got too drunk and fell off the cliff. But maybe they were actually pushed.
Oh, maybe it's like 2 different groups, like West Side Story.
And can there be dancing on the road? Can they do that?
Totally.
Oh.
No, but what if it's like a group of 3 that's maybe like up on the cliff drinking or whatever, and one of them accidentally falls off the cliff, and it is an accident, right? And then 3 more people are coming by in the car. The car hits the body, which actually does help finish the job. And then the 2 people up on the top are like, oh my gosh, they're going to get us for pushing it because our fingerprints are on it. We were drinking or whatever. They come running down the hill and they're like, oh my God, what happened? And they totally are like, blame it on, you totally hit that guy. It's your fault.
Well, then it takes away the intentional
Yeah,
murder.
I like the intentional.
I do like the intentional.
I'm voting with that. So I'm voting intentional murder. It's just a matter of how to work up the logistics. There's the hard part of remake. Wow. For something I thought we would have done in about 5 minutes, it's getting more complicated.
Okay, so there's Max, there's Ray, there's Julie, there's Michelle Gellar,
Helen and Barry.
Helen and Barry. Okay, so
same stereotypes. You can use the same stereotypes. I think it still works.
Yeah. So Max and Ray work together because Barry obviously doesn't like Max in the movie, so that really wouldn't work. So just to make this simple,
or you
right?
could add a 6th, and it's like Max's friend or Ray's friend or something.
Well, he had said before Ray's brother was the person that was.
Who did
killed
you
with
want to be the
Max.
hero? Max.
Max ends up being the hero. He gets with Julie because they look like they should be together.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Max is the one. I really know we were best friends the whole time. I can bring you back out of your slump kind of thing. But Max is like, it was all part of my plan. So Max and Ray end up dumping the 6th person, the body, the dead person.
How would Max be the hero if he helped?
Because he tries to pin it on Ray the whole time.
So he's actually guilty?
So Max and Ray are both guilty for killing the guy. Right?
Okay.
But then Max tries to pin it on Ray because he's jealous of Ray.
Because Ray is dating Julie.
Because Ray is dating Julie.
And Max wants Julie.
Right, exactly. And Max ends up killing Barry and Helen. And as that's happening, Julie's freaking out. Julie then is convinced that Ray is the one that's doing it, because why would it be Max? Because Ray is the one that stayed in town, became a fisherman, blah, 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 blah. Something happens that Julie ends up killing Ray. So you have 4 dead bodies. And then Julie and Max are like, oh my gosh, the trauma, we should get together. But really, Max is the one that was behind the whole thing.
I don't like that. I like the idea of staying away from all the murders. And I actually I think I like the idea of an innocent person being behind I know what you did last summer. Like one of the innocent ones figured out that it was one of them who killed that person on purpose. They just don't know who it is.
That's the sequel. Julie figures that out in the second movie.
I think you do that in this movie. I think that would be a really cool concept, because you've basically one or 2 of them. I'm not big on the 2. You both are on 2 killers. So if you both are on it, then that decides that. So you want 2 killers. But I think I'm going to use cut on that. I'm going to use cut. I want the innocent person to be the person that's actually one of the innocent people to be doing that, to try to flush out who the murderers were.
No, but you don't need to use a cut. I don't think anybody was debating you on that.
Yeah, well, I'm still using it just in case.
Let him burn it so you can't use it later.
Yeah, go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I want that. I want the innocent person.
So Julie's behind the notes.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so then if Julie's behind the notes, how does Julie know about what happened?
She's able to figure, because she's the super smart one. She's the one that, and she spent maybe since in the last few months.
She's tried to track everything down and figure.
She's tracked everything down, and she found a connection to 2 or 3 of the people in the group but she doesn't want to share that connection. She wants to try to flush them out.
Okay, so I have an idea real quick. So what if, while Julie is figuring all this out, she only thinks there's one killer? So she doesn't think that, let's say, for example, she thinks it's her ex-boyfriend, Ray, because they ended up splitting up.
Mm-hmm.
So she thinks it's Ray this whole time. She doesn't think it's Max because, Troy definitely wants to have Max be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually behind, him and Ray were behind it together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So she thinks it's solely Ray because she doesn't think there's two different killers.
So she's using this to flush Ray out.
Because she's like, I know that you did it, blah, blah, blah. Well, then Max decides to come out and try and like be the savior for her. And this is how he becomes the hero and gets together with her because she's already, oh, well, I know it's Ray. Maybe there's like some little clue that Ray didn't cover up for himself, but Max covers himself.
She wouldn't be able to do that until near the end of the movie because otherwise we'd know who was behind it.
Well, right. But this,
okay.
I'm not saying it needs to be at the beginning. So after all of this time and she's sent out all the notes and she's tried torturing everybody to figure out who it was and have somebody come clean. She decides that she knows that it's Ray. She doesn't know it's Max. Max tries to save her and say, like, I'm the good guy, blah, blah, blah. They end up getting together, which was Max's plan all along. And at the very end, you find out maybe Julie does end up killing Ray, which is what Troy was kind of going with. She ends up killing him, and then Max is the hero, but then
the audience
only knows that
he
was part of it, and he was like the mastermind behind everything and planned everything.
I like that. You like that, Troy?
Yeah, it was kind of my idea, just told better.
Basically.
Thank you.
Understandable.
It combines everybody's ideas, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Except mine. Mine's kind of left in the dust.
So,
no, yours is involved.
So do Barry and Helen die then is the question.
And
if they die, who's the killer?
I think that they become victims of everything and die, but I don't
know if they die. I think Ray dies because it's the only way
Ray
Max
definitely has to die.
He has to die to keep Max's secret. Otherwise, he'd be known. But I don't
the
think
other thing that I thought
But the other two could be severely injured or something because of everything. But then you hate Julie at the end because if she's behind the notes, you don't want anybody to actually get hurt.
From the notes.
You just want them to be terrified.
Yeah.
Because we don't know about who's behind the notes until the very end.
Right.
Just like we don't know it's the double cross that Max is behind it till the very end.
Right.
And maybe Julie confides in Max that she was the one behind the notes because she knew it was Ray all along and she found the proof and blah, blah, blah. And then
she was trying to flush him out.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. She didn't think he would ever come clean on his own.
Okay, well then Max has to kill, although we don't know it's Max.
Well, Max can
has
kill
to
Ray
kill somebody else so that he can frame Ray in order to help Julie uncover that it's Ray.
Well, we can say...
No, there just has to be a connection. Like, she thinks it's Ray. She can't prove it's Ray.
She can't prove it. And then she, her and Ray, let's say they get into an altercation and they're yelling and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I know you did it. And he's trying to defend himself because he wasn't the one behind everything, but he was definitely involved with it.
Thinking.
Yeah. And then so she ends up, like, not intentionally trying to kill him, but it's on her hands that Ray dies.
Well, I think they have an altercation. Then Max shows up and sees that Ray's about to confess, and then basically makes it look like self-defense as he kills Ray.
That's a good idea. I like that.
I like that.
Can we? So at the very beginning where they're telling the story, and this is actually how some of the people die is from that story.
Yeah.
Like with the hook and stuff. So maybe at the beginning of the story, whatever one was the real way that person died is how Ray dies. Is how Max. And maybe Max is the one who actually uses, because you know how they all say, no, it was decapitation. No, it was with a hook. When Max is telling what he thinks his idea is of the story, his is the one that's actually right. And at the very end, that's how Ray dies. And that's how we know Max is the killer.
Love it.
So let's say that
smart.
The real story is the person gets gutted with a hook. Mm-hmm. Then at the very end, Max guts Ray with a hook. And that proves that he was the one who knew about it or something.
Oh.
Uses that. You know what I'm saying? So you just kind of have to use your own imagination of, oh, okay, that's what this ties to.
Yeah,
He's
because
the killer.
at the beginning when they were saying who the real killer, like they tell a story
about
a guy that got away with murder.
Yes.
And here's how he killed it. And he's like, no, he did it with a hook.
Yes. And all the rest of them they still
give
their own ideas.
To the original movie, too.
Yeah. And they all still give their own ideas of it. And at the very end, since it has to be at the end, Max saves Ray by killing him with
not Ray. He saves Julie.
Yeah, saves Julie, kills Ray with whatever his idea is at the beginning.
I
which
like
can be
that.
A hook.
Yeah,
I like that too.
I like that.
Chekhov's gun without the Chekhov's gun.
There you go. So I think we got a movie. The only thing we got to figure out is how does it work? We got Julie's the one that's doing the notes. She's torturing people and causing bad things to happen to them. Nobody dies until the end when Ray dies, but some bad things will happen to him because she's trying to flush him out. And she can justify that to her friends as long as nobody actually gets hurt. She can terrify them. She's like, that's the only way I could get him to come clean, guys, and that's the only way I could get him to come clean.
But Max is still around. He still gets to live. I like that idea that Troy came up with, where he is the hero, but he's also the villain, and nobody else knows about it. I like that that it goes out with nobody knowing he's the actual killer and the one that was behind everything.
So in the flushing out of it, then that's where I come back to the Barry and Helen characters, because if Julie suspects Ray, then somehow, in order for Julie to be right, Max has to do a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's where Max is the one that ends up killing Helen and Barry, although we don't know it's Max, right? It's the slicker, it's the fisherman, or whatever we want to do, superhero, Green Lantern, I don't care.
No, but why would they have to die?
Because Max has to make it look like Ray was the killer to help Julie be convinced that Ray is the killer.
I don't think anybody has to die for that.
Then what's your suggestion of how Julie realizes?
Well, because then basically the death would be on her head because she started sending them notes, and that's what brought all this.
And you don't want anybody to hate her at the end.
No, I mean, because then everybody in the audience would hate her at the end, and you already, don't like them because they covered up a murder. You don't want them to hate the heroine too, or maybe you do. But that's really dark. I think that's really dark.
They both deserve each other. They're both sadistic sons of bitches.
I don't think that was her intent, though. I think her intent was to do the right thing. I kind of like the
idea of her being like she's trying to be an investigator or something, but she's still pretty innocent.
She's trying to do the right thing just after the fact. She realizes she figured it out.
She felt guilty the whole time. Her life got ruined.
Everybody's life got ruined,
yeah.
She thought.
And so once she has some sort of sign that disproves Ray's, maybe Ray had a story of where he was at when this person died because he wasn't in the car with them.
No, I think he's got to be in the car.
Oh, he's got to be.
Everybody's got to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because otherwise, what's she going to raise?
So then who's going to throw the dead body?
Well, I think
Max isn't part of the group.
Max isn't part of the group at that time. So he throws the body. He makes sure that Ray is in the car and makes sure that has maybe Julie driving the car and gives her the keys. Maybe it's actually his car. It doesn't have to be Barry's. And Max throws the body when he knows they're coming because Ray was already coordinated with him or whatever. He sent him a text message or something along those lines. Throws the body over the cliff. They hit the body, and then Max drives back by because he's already in the area. So he runs down to his car and he drives by. So he becomes part of it. He becomes part of the pact.
Yep.
There you go. That's how you connect them.
I like it.
And then it's just a matter of who they killed. I mean, I don't know if it really matters. Maybe it's just somebody that. Does it matter? Troy, you got an idea for that, or does it matter? Or is it just somebody that they really they hated them?
Maybe it was I don't know, because Max was working the docks and Ray was working the docks. Maybe there's some kind of underground, underlying dock mafia thing.
What if it's somebody that's been stalking Julie, that's been in love with her? So then that's one of the reasons she thinks it was Ray, because that was, maybe she finds out later that body was already dead when she hit it. And she thinks that Ray had killed him.
I don't think she can find that out because she ain't a coroner. But she could find out that Ray had approached this guy before because he had been following her. And that's how he saw the connection to Ray.
Yeah.
And so she's like, there's no coincidence. It's absolutely impossible. This guy's just randomly out there now that I know who this guy is. And she didn't know because it's dark and, it's bloody. And yeah. And they just got rid of it. Would that work for you, Troy?
It works for me.
Better than a mafia, I think. Underground fish mafia.
I'm just trying to connect why Max would want to kill this person. And
if it's Julie, yeah, because they both love
Julie, her. Yeah, they're both in love with her, and they think Max is somehow friends with Ray from maybe childhood or something.
Yeah,
and
so he can't tell him I'm in love with your woman.
Right.
But after they have this pact, Ray can't tell him that they were in on it because then that would admit that there was a murder. They were murdered.
Yeah.
Boom! I think we got a movie.
We sure do.
I think it was better than the original too.
I think so.
Whew. And it won't have that stupid last act. Guess what? If there's ever anybody on a boat, they jump out of the boat. That's what you do. You jump out of the boat. Poor Jennifer Love Hewitt. God. All right. Anything else? You guys want to add anything else?
No, I think we're good. Otherwise, we're gonna like totally talk ourselves out of it.
Yeah, I know. Let's stick to it. I think it's a cool
I
idea.
think it's solid.
Just enough different to make it its own thing. I like it. Who should direct it? Who's got a director?
Me.
Okay, go, Amanda.
Fede Alvarez. He was the director for the new Evil Dead.
I'm on board. He also
Word.
did. He also did Don't Breathe.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things.
It's great. Comes out August 26th. That's
I know, I
right.
wanna
I'm
see
promoting it. I'm promoting it. I'm on board. So I
Troy,
think
what
we're all
was
good.
your idea though?
Flanagan from Hush.
Oh,
Oh, well, that's still a solid one.
still solid one too. Well, actually, either one of those would work for me.
Mm-hmm. I guess it
Depending on
really
how much,
You know
depends
what?
how
on
much fish
bloody
you have to
want
pay
it.
me in, Aaron.
You know,
I cannot
you
use
know
my card.
what? Here, even though he's involved with the remake, I don't care. We can sign whoever we want. I will tell you, after I watch Hush and I've seen Don't Breathe has a lot more gore. And if we're
That's what
going
I was
away
gonna
from
say.
death, they're both really intense.
What if they work on it together?
Co-direct it?
Co-directors.
Co-direct it?
One's a director, one's a writer. Because Flanagan did the
There you
screenplay
go.
for Hush.
Flanagan writes it, and Fede Alvarez directs it. Boom, problem solved.
Perfect.
You guys, I don't have any casting ideas. I'm actually going to defer to you guys because everybody I would cast would be from the 100.
I have a few, but Troy can go first because I know he's excited.
I don't know
about his.
anybody under 25 today. That's what I'm saying. So Troy, do you have any ideas for any of the characters? Now we don't have to cast them all, but if you have some ideas, that'd be great.
Well, not to like typecast anybody in particular. But there was the one girl, what's her name, from Independence Day Resurgence. Was it Micah Monroe?
Micah Monroe, she's great.
Yep,
yeah.
she could play the Helen blonde character.
Okay.
Even though they couldn't dye hair, so I'm just not typecasting or anything. But the one I really really liked, I've been really enjoying the Shannara Chronicles.
I haven't
currently
seen
on Netflix. That was on MTV.
Okay.
The lady's name is Ivana Baccaro. She's from Spain, and she is really really good. She was also in Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, was she the star of Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, she was the one that got the great acclaim. I think she was the star.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head which character she was in Pans because I can't remember the character's name.
She would have been Ophelia if she was
Yes,
the star.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
All right. I'm with you. As the star, you would want her to be Julie?
She'd be Julie. Yeah.
Okay. I'm on board with that. I like
she's
that.
she's killing it right now in Shannara Chronicles.
Yeah, she's really good. She's really good. And she'd probably be okay in that blue sweater. Anybody else? Anybody else you had?
And then I had Cameron I can't remember Magnahan
From
like he's a kind of up and comer. It just seemed like he would be the kind of guy that'd be kind of the brooding character, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was in Shameless.
Ooh, I love Shameless.
Oh, Gotham. He's Jerome Valeska in Gotham.
I don't
Who
watch
is he in
Gotham. I'm
Shameless?
too busy living my life.
Shameless. He's Ian Gallagher.
Oh yeah, I'm down with that.
Oh, okay.
I love Shameless, and he's a good actor. He plays very dynamic roles. Like he can switch. I mean,
Who would he play? That
playing
Max
Psycho.
or Barry or Ray?
Well,
which
I didn't cast Max originally, so
Oh, okay. Well,
he could play Max or play Barry
who did
because
you?
I had Josh Hutcherson as the Freddie Prinze character.
No. He's awful. No.
Exactly.
No, he's awful. He's awful as an actor. He's not good.
That's the whole point. That's why I picked him.
Why?
He matches Freddie Prinze.
You were on a golden road.
We're
man.
supposed to recast Ray, not Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, I'd rather have Freddie Prinze Jr.
But
play
you
it
said
again.
Freddie.
I'd rather have Freddie do it again. Who did you have, Amanda? Anybody?
I had Phoebe Tonkin. I love
good
her.
choice. Good choice.
Who is she?
She was in Vampire Diaries and she was in
Secret
the
Circle.
originals. Oh, she was in. That's right. She was in Secret Circle too.
Okay.
She is a beautiful brunette, and she is a great actress. I think.
Okay.
I also had Evan Peters.
Yeah. Quicksilver.
Mhm.
Right? Quicksilver. Yeah. Okay.
I had Douglas Booth, but I'm not crazy about that one. I was just trying to make sure I had enough people.
I think Evan Peters would be a really good Max.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has a sweet face and he seems like a nice guy, but I've seen him. He can play down and dirty.
Yeah.
I think Douglas Booth could do the Ray character. Cameron can do the Barry character, and then Peters can do the Max character.
Okay.
Can we throw Phoebe Tonkin in here?
Sure.
And then I'd swap out Micah for Phoebe.
Okay. I'm down with that. I love her.
I don't know, man. I like Micah Monroe. I really like Micah Monroe.
Have her be the girl that gets killed.
Who's the girl that gets killed?
I don't know.
You're just throwing extra characters in, man. What kind of movie is this? You can't
The
just
sixth
make
person, the dead body. She's the dead body.
No, the dead body is like a semi-stalker, remember?
Maybe she is the stalker. Maybe
Yeah.
she's got a thing for
Ooh.
Julie. And then
Make
Yeah,
it
she's
a
got a thing
girl
for Julie.
stalker?
yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's not even like anything that you would realize
Whoa.
until much
Whoa.
later when it comes out that she was gay.
Whoa.
We just changed everything.
What just happened? I don't know. What do you think, Troy?
I felt like this is The Exorcist. My head just spun
I don't know.
around.
Why do you got to kill the only gay character? Why?
Oh my, no,
No.
don't make it like that.
Yeah, see, that's where it goes there. I don't know.
That's a twist for Max at the end.
Maybe Julie and her had a past. Maybe they were past things. So then they're not the only gay ones.
No, because now you're making it just more complicated than it needed to be. It was all done. No, it's got to be a dude because we already decided that. Don't change it.
That's ridiculous. Well, I want Phoebe Tonkin in here.
Fine. Megan Monroe's going to be in something else. Damn it. All right. Well, some nostalgic moments, things that have to be in our remake. They're either subtle or direct nods to the original that our remake needs. They need the handwritten notes saying, I know what you did. So we can't, I guess you could go the email route or the text message route,
Nah, I
which
like the letter.
I'm sure somebody could get a text message too. You could play that while they're torturing.
That feels too much like Pretty Little Liars to me.
I've never seen Pretty Little Liars, so it doesn't
Literally
feel like that to
every
me.
message from the killer whose name is A, it's a bunch of text messages. And
Yeah.
they're taunting the person. They're taunting this whole group of
Oh.
people. So that plays way too close
So
to Pretty
handwritten
Little
notes.
Liars.
We'll stick with
Yeah.
handwritten notes. Okay.
Yes.
There has to be a steam sequence since it was used twice in the original.
They like it
Apparently,
steamy.
They like steam. That's balanced. I put that in. I have to have that in there somewhere
All right.
because it's so good. And possibly Jennifer Love Hewitt's sweater or shirt, whatever. That blue shirt has to show up on our new heroine. Maybe
little
she
piece
does a
of
little
article.
twirl. Maybe she does a little twirl. What are you waiting for? Huh? Do that again.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we hear our final trailer, let's hear one more clip from the original. And this is Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Maybe he wanted to die. What? David Egan. His girlfriend was killed on that same road July 4th 1 year earlier. Maybe he blamed himself. Maybe he was sitting in the road waiting for us to hit him. Yeah, if that'll help you sleep at night. What happened between us? We used to be best friends. We used to be a lot of things. I miss you.
Aw.
That music
Did they-
was very Buffy-esque.
It was very WB-esque, and that's where they were both acting at the time. One on Buffy, one on, I think, was it Party of Five, Troy?
Which was Fox, but that's okay. We'll forgive you.
What was? No.
Party of Five.
Was it on Fox?
Yes, it was on Fox.
Oh, well, it should have been on WB.
Ooh, he got sassy about it.
He
Yes,
sure did.
it was on Fox. How
Wow.
dare you?
Wow. I thought it was on WB. I don't know. I didn't watch that show. I'm sorry.
Obviously, Troy did.
Troy apparently is a big fan. He's got the t-shirts or something. All right, well, it's time to hear the trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer, provided by the vocal stylings of Mr. Wayne Henderson of MediaVoiceovers.com.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Take it away, Wayne.
After a night of debauchery, 5 friends accidentally kill a seemingly innocent stranger. Fearing the loss of their futures, they all agree to cover up the death and take this secret to their graves. 1 year later, their secret is coming back to torture them all. As they begin to receive notes pointing fingers at them all, and after their own families also become victimized, the group begins to unravel. Is there more to what happened last summer? Is one of the group targeting them to hold them accountable? Will they live long enough to figure it all out? Next July, join filmmakers Fede Alvarez and Mike Flanagan as they join forces to reintroduce a horror classic for a new generation. Someone knows the truth. Somewhere they are hiding. Sometime soon, vengeance will arrive. I know what you did last summer.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, sir.
Woohoo!
I know what I am
Always
going
pleasant.
to do next summer. I'm going to listen to all of Wayne's trailers all over again.
Just put them on a little playlist.
Well, there's actually a loop for season 1, and we'll have a loop for season 2. So yeah,
There you go.
all Wayne all the time. What do you guys think? Troy, what do you think? You think we got a good movie here?
I think it's a great movie.
Do you think it's better than the original?
It can only be better if we have crabs in a trunk.
Is that another nod? You just throw crabs in a trunk and it mysteriously disappears immediately?
Right.
It doesn't
Vaporized.
smell.
Oh, the cleanest trunk ever, really. When you go back and
Febreze
look at it.
everywhere.
Did you guys look at how clean that trunk was when they
It
went
was
back?
Yes,
super clean.
I sure did. I
Spotless.
sure did.
Like he had time to dust. And maybe some vacuuming. What do you think, Amanda? Got a good movie?
I think it's amazing.
All right. Well, there we go. Boom. Look for it in theaters. Hopefully next Halloween. That's going to do it for this episode.
Wouldn't you want it to be over the summer?
Man. Yeah, I suppose.
Come on,
Yeah,
Aaron.
yeah, I suppose. July, summer, because it's July 4th. We'll go with the same kind of thing.
Mhm.
July 4th. All right.
Nah, we'll make it Labor Day.
Nobody
Is that what you
cares
did
about Labor
last
Day.
summer?
Nobody cares about Labor Day. Nobody cares. All right. Well, if you think you got a better idea or a better pitch or thoughts on this week's show, you can email them to remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. It's remakeThisMovieRight@gmail.com. Remember, you can review us on iTunes. Please do if you can. Thumbs up on Stitcher if you listen there. Put our RSS feed in your podcast app of choice, and we really do appreciate it. We're also on Google Play. Wayne Henderson, MediaVoiceovers.com. He does great trailers. Applause again to Wayne. He's also 11/22/63 if you watch the show on Hulu, and Packers Fan Podcast. Troy, where can people find you?
Oh, funny. It's the same ones. PackersFanPodcast.com, which actually should be up and running by the time you hear this episode for the wonderful season 6, where the Packers hopefully will become the 14-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, yep. Whoop, whoop.
Also, we did do 11/22/63, A Look Back.
Mhm.
Yes, it is a time travel show, if you can't get the play on words, with Wayne Henderson. That is a very good 8 episodes on Hulu, so check that out, and then listen to our highly, highly detailed podcast about all the Easter eggs we found. And then Aaron and I will be back this fall with The Blacklist Exposed at theblacklistexposed.com. Season 4 in the house.
Yep, and possibly something else. We'll talk about more when we know for sure. what we're doing.
Yes.
Amanda, where can people find you?
Here.
Okay. Remake This Movie Right. You can find her here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Also, there's a Remake This Movie Right Facebook group. We're available on Twitter at Remake Right. And the website is remakethismovieright.com. I please, once again, please leave a review if you can. Whatever you're listening through, just leave us a review. It really does help the show. Or share it on your social media, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you use. I really, really do appreciate it.
Sharing is more important than the review.
Sharing
I
is
agree.
caring.
Yes, please
Sharing
share.
is caring.
Share like you love us, even if you don't. Just treat us
Pretend.
like the girl in high school. Just make us feel better about ourselves.
It's like you're passing a note to your friend.
There you go. I want to feel pretty. Tell people I'm pretty. Okay, guys, that's going to do it. Troy, you want to take us out?
Remember, the next movie you watch will get a remake someday, but only you or us could make it better. Take care, guys. And gals.
And dead women on the road that might be gay. Or dudes, whatever you are.
And all of you wearing blue sweaters.
To all of the women with the blue sweaters.
God bless the blue sweaters. Are we a little hung up on the blue sweaters, maybe?
Possibly.
Dude, it's all anybody talks about when you talk about the movie. It's the first thing they mention.